G'day all, it's Colin from PC TLC. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to run through a setup of my Ubuntu Budgie. So this is Ubuntu Budgie 1804 Beta 1. Been running it for probably about a week, so just thought I would run through the setup and how I normally have it. So I've kept it pretty much standard for the week until I got around to making this video. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the Budgie settings, Budgie desktop settings. I'm going to go to the top panel, and the first thing I like to do is move the top panel to the bottom. So we'll do that. And let's have a look. Let's go back to applets. My power applet, which is next to the Raven settings, user indicator. Let's move that across. Center over to next to the menu. So I find myself in Budgie all the time going to here to shut down. It's just an old habit I can't break. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to add a spacer. So that'll end up in the middle. So we'll move that up between, there's already one between the menu. Okay. Oh, hang on, what do we got there? What's desktop time and date? Oh, that's that one there, isn't it? Yes. So there's a spacer between that and that. Doesn't really need to be there. Let's just remove that spacer for a minute. Okay, user indicator and Budgie desktop. Okay, so spacer. You can see the power button move across and put it on about 10. Just stops me from automatically maybe a little bit more. Sometimes I drift to the left, so that's not bad. That's all right. Now the clock in the middle, that's got calendar preferences and time and date settings, preferences for the time and date. What I might do is I might just remove that, and we'll add, I think that was the calendar. I want to add the clock. Oh no, maybe it was the other one. Let's delete that. Get mixed up with these names. So I must have been the calendar. Let's add again. Calendar, add. That's the calendar. Okay. So on the calendar we have 24-hour time. Yep. We can date format. So show date. We can do that. Yep, I like that date format. That's not too bad. And if you want to know how to change that, just go to here, date format syntax. It's opened up in the other screen, and then it'll show you, if you want to do it in these particular formats, it'll show you the format here. So we can go, let's just say we want to show the complete Friday the 30th of March 2018. If we was to do that and copy and paste that into here, no. Custom date, sorry. And then we can copy and paste into there. And that'll give you the date. So currently we have this one here. Let's have a look at what that one is. So percentage M, D and Y. What does this one have? Percentage E, B. Custom date. No, we don't want custom date. Turn that off and we got that one. Okay. Oh, so that's what it's set up for. So it's already got a custom date set up there. We don't want that, but you could change it to this date here. That date's perfectly good for me anyway. So let's just say I wanted March the 30th, 2018. And that's that one there. So we go copy, custom date, paste that, March 30th, 2018, there you go. And you have your custom date, and you could have your custom time as well. Time and date settings. So that one was just for the time and date. And then you got your, so we turn off, so if we turn off the custom date and we turn off show date, then we go to custom date, that's better. And then you'd want to show your time as well, because now your time is not showing. So we could go, let's see, March 30th, and we could go for this one here. Copy that. Custom date. Paste. And there we have March 30th, 10:13 AM. Just like that. Okay. So that's how you do that. So you just click the syntax, it'll take you to this website and show you how to do that. That's pretty handy anyway. So if we put that back onto what it was, if we turn off custom date and show date, yep, I like that one better. 10/13, 30th of the 3rd, 18. Happy with that. Now we also have the places. I like to move that next to there, so back one, places there. Then we add a spacer. That's what I like about the Budgie desktop. Adding a spacer is just so easy. So it ends up in the center. You can just take it up to there. We want that in between places and user indicator, that's correct, and make that about 12 as well, so we don't sort of accidentally hit that one there. So when you veer off to the left, you're not accidentally hitting that can be annoying. So that's quite good, that looks good. The Raven panel we already have there, that's cool. I like it where it is there. Sound is perfectly okay, so all of those are okay. It's a quick note. So that's already installed, and we've got our activate caffeine if we need to. That works very well. So we have that there. We got the calendar. I don't know how, the only way we can get the big calendar up, which was on the other one, is to search for calendar. So you could probably pop that in as a keep in the dock if you like to access your calendar. If you've changed this date and you like this better, but you still want to access the calendar, just keep it in the dock. The other thing I do like to do is actually put my caffeine indicator and date sometimes. Well, actually what I'll do, this is how I normally do it. So we'll go to the Budgie settings again, create new panel. So new panel up the top. So the top panel, settings. I like to have it on dock mode. Automatically hide, we'll go intelligent. We'll make it always transparent. So what we can add to that, well actually what I'm going to do, let's cancel that. Let's go to the bottom panel. Let's remove calendar from there. Let's remove that. And on the top dock, we shall add the calendar. Okay, so there we go there. It still remains, the settings still remain. And I like to have caffeine up there as well. So on the bottom dock, we can remove caffeine, applet indicator. Let's delete that, see what happens. Oh, that's the applet indicator, so we really do need that there, don't we? So add the applet indicator back. And move it back to where it was. Right there. Okay, so we'll leave that there. That's all our system tray running applications. Notifications. If we go to the welcome screen, Budgie welcome. Now in the recommendations I installed SkippyXD. Now that is working, but it's not showing up here now, I don't know why. But as you can see, SkippyXD is actually working. So I don't know what happened to SkippyXD in the welcome screen, in the recommendations. Maybe they've moved it, I'm not sure. Or maybe it wasn't supposed to be installed, I don't know. So we've got our Budgie applets. Now the Clockworks applet is the other thing I wanted to install on the top menu. So if we go back to Budgie settings, maybe we should keep that and dock that in there. So top dock, add an applet, and we'll add the Clockworks. And I think we need a spacer on that as well. $12 seems to be the go. It's a nice little space. I'm just trying to figure out, I think I'm -8. I think. Oh, hang on. No, that's, we need to. That's PM. Can't remember what I am now. It must be +8, I think. God, I'm not good at remembering this stuff. +8. That's right, 10 +8. Okay, so if I was to add another one, 0. So this is Perth. This one here is UK, I believe. And if I add another one, -5, I think it was. I think that's right, 9:30 PM is US Eastern, I believe. Okay, so they're the 3 time zones I like to keep track of. You've got your calendar there. You've got a calendar here if you need it. Now I know Tom at Switch to Linux was having a issue with some of these things not sticking. Didn't have the option to keep in dock, but I haven't had a problem with any of these so far. But it just comes down to what hardware you're using, I suppose. So normally this dock will turn off and I don't use a dock at all. So, well actually, the way I like to do it is, if I go to Budgie settings again, auto start and turn off plank, that's turned off. And if I go to preferences, if I hold control and right click, you get preferences. Well, actually, I don't want preferences. Let's quit. Now, if we go to Budgie settings and bottom panel, and we add the applet, which one is it? Task. I think it's task list. Wallpaper switcher Windows previews. I think it's task list. Let's add that. Maybe that's not the one. Task list. Let's just remove that for a minute. Icon task list. That's the one. And then we move that over next to our icon task list. Places. No, we want to go back one. And then we need to add a spacer again. Spacer. Icon in between there, and give that a 12 as well. So we've got a bit of space between those. And those icons look a bit small for what they normally look like. They look small. Don't know what's going on there. That's bottom dock settings. Okay, that looks a bit better. 40. Just look a bit small. So I have my access to everything now. Can turn off the power and log off and do whatever I want there. So, and then we've got an indicator under your open app. So that's opened in my other page. So the open one is the brighter one, as you can see. That's a Windows type setup anyway, I must say. Now, one thing I was having problems with is I installed OBS through Synaptic. So I installed OBS in here. And this one here, 21 something. So let me have a look at the OBS it's running at the moment. Now, why is my OBS showing up on here? I would have thought my running tasks would have been showing, but obviously not. So let's just put the task list back on there for now. Okay, so let's have a look at what this one is. This is OBS 21. So this one is the Snap app. The one in here is 21. Now, what was happening was when I was hitting start recording, it was giving me an error to the path. So it wouldn't even record. I don't know what was going on there. So I've installed the Snap app and that's running fine. So I uninstalled this one and installed the Snap app. Now with the Snap app in OBS, if I go to settings, now on the video, okay, no, it's actually output. So if you have a look at this path here, home, Colin, Snap apps, blah, blah, blah. So let's go to that, Snap. So it's home, Colin, Snap, OBS, Studio 3. Now I created this OBS videos and then I created a link and then I cut and paste that link into videos. There's the link there, OBS videos. So whatever I record in the Snap app records inside the Snap because that's the path it wanted. And then I just made sure that it was recording into here. And then I just created a link for this and cut and paste it into videos. And then I just got a shortcut to that video. So it's easy for me to, so if I close that and I open it again, go to videos, go straight to the video. So that's creating links for Snap apps is the best way, because you still keep the security, but you got an easy access to the path instead of giving it the path to, or trying to give it the path to your videos currently on your system. So cancel that, drop that down. So I don't know. So that's not sure. I'd probably have to restart because I've added this task list. I'll have to restart and then right click and keep in and pin to the panel. So the panel that was added after I started it, that's probably why. So I'll have to do that. So I'll keep the night light. I'll turn that on in the near future. I've tried out the caffeine, that works really well. The screen stays on. And the other thing I did in the desktop settings, was it desktop settings? No, it was actually normal settings. So let's go to normal settings. Settings. So under power, automatic suspend. Now I was doing a couple of downloads and this automatic suspend came on and it was set to something like 15 minutes. So what happens is when it suspends, my downloads had stopped. So I had to redo the whole thing because it stopped, try and get it up and running again. So what I've done is set that to 2 hours because it turns the whole computer off just about. So once I hit download, go to sleep, a couple of hours should be fine to download. If it takes more than 2 hours, then bad luck, I suppose. But then my computer will be just almost off for the rest of the night. So that's good. So just keep that in mind. You can click on that and change that. Now, just to cover one more thing in the software center. Or was it actually, no, it's probably the welcome screen as well. So we'll go back to Budgie Welcome. I'll come back to the applets shortly. But if you install, if you go to the software center from here, now let's just say you want to install OBS Studio. Look for that, and there it is. So we click on that. Now what you do is you scroll down, it'll tell you the version number, and the most important thing is it tells you the source right here is from the Snap Store. So that's the only search that came up. If we, let's try a search for something else. I'll just do some random thing, Audacity. Okay, so you've got two Audacities there. Let's click on this one. That was the top one. That's from the Ubuntu Bionic Universe. So that's from the Ubuntu repos. If we click on this one and go down, that's from FlatHub. Okay, so that's from the source is the FlatHub. So if you're wondering why you're getting a couple of different searches in the software center, that is why. So it's best to scroll down and look at what you're installing and where it's installing from. That's why the Ubuntu Budgie Welcome here has Flat Apps and Snap Apps. So if you go to the recommendations and scroll down, it'll tell you that the Backports repository is installed, Flatpak is installed, and Snap is already installed. Okay, so you probably, because I've noticed a big change in the Flat Apps and the FlatHub website has changed. So not all the software is showing up and you can install from the command line and that now, because what they're doing is they're putting them inside the software center now, which is pretty good anyway. So if we say we go to Telegram, sorry, something went wrong. That always happens with this thing here. So if I do a search for Telegram, I don't know if it's got any more than one or what. Let's try that. So there you go. So Telegram, let's have a look. That's from the Snap Store. This one here is from the Snap Store. And this one here is from Ubuntu Bionic Universe, which is the Ubuntu repos. So they may, and if you have a look at the version number, 1.2.6, 1.2.6, 1.2.15. So there's one from the Snap Store that's a little bit behind there, and the second one from the Snap Store is up to date. So if you're installing from the Software Center from now on, it's best you scroll down and have a look at where the source is from, so you know what you're installing and what you're dealing with. Because when it comes to OBS and saving where you're putting your videos and all that, you really want to know, you may need to make those shortcuts to make your life a little bit easier. So, and last thing we'll do, we'll just have a quick look at some of these, the installed applets. Well, I think I've installed most of them. A couple I haven't. I don't need brightness control on a desktop. Countdown applet, well, I really have no need for that. Global menu, it's okay, but I don't know whether I need it or not. Now the drop by applet I haven't used yet. The haste applet I have no use for. The hot corners can come in handy, but I'm not using it currently. Don't need screen rotation. Quick note I think was on here. So that's handy because sometimes I'm making quick notes. And we have the weather applet, which I haven't. That is the other thing I normally put on the top panel. So let's try top dock. Let's go for weather, Budgie weather. Add the applet. And let's have a look. Weather. That's in the middle. I think we need to go there. Let's see. Weather, and we'll put a spacer on both sides. That's 12. Okay, so we have a bit of a gap there. Weather. Oh, did I have to do the weather from? I think I had to do it from there. I'm used to the other ones where you do it. Weather. Okay, location is Perth, Western Australia. Update now. 25 degrees, beautiful. And this one doesn't have any, it doesn't, you can't click on it, just shows your weather, that's it. So we've got the time, the weather and so forth. So, okay, so I have a video on how all these other things work, so I won't go through that again. That's the current apps available for 1804. Change keyboard language if you're using 2 languages or more. And I showed you the calendar applet. I've already put it up there. Calendar applet. And that's all I'm using at the moment. The previews applet, I may have the previews applet because that doesn't have an applet that shows. So let's have a look at the previews applet. I may have put that in on the bottom panel. It doesn't use an icon anyway. Previews, let's have a look because I'm sure I installed them all. Previews, let's add. Expose, so it'll tell you here, applet runs without a panel icon. There you go. And Alt Tab, so it depends what I've got open. Let's try Alt Tab. Alt Tab, and we just keep pressing Alt Tab, but take your finger off the tab button, then press it again when you want to change to the window that you want to go to. Desktop settings, that's that one. That's fine. And that's pretty much it. That's how I have it set up. and I've got those few little things up top there and most of the things down the bottom. This one I will remove. I'll just run with the icons task list that I like that set up, and I may keep this one, I'm not sure. If I go to Budgie settings again and bottom panel, I could probably put the task list to the left, and you could spacer that as well. Spacer, add applet. Put it between those two. But I don't think I'll be using that anyway, I doubt. So we've got a decent sort of space between them now. So we've checked out Flatpaks and Snap apps, so you can install Snap apps. Takes you to the website, UA App Explorer there, and Flatpaks. Let's see where that takes us. Flathub.org. It was /apps. It's now changed. You got your quick setup, a few featured apps. You'll probably find that most of them will be in the Software Center. So let's look for Google Play Music in the Software Center as an example. Google Play Music, and as you can see, the source is from FlatHub. So if we go back, you can actually see here there's got a source there from FlatHub. So now they've made it so much easier than people having to deal with command lines, that they've actually integrated it with the Software Center, which is a great idea for new users. So that's really good to see. And the same with the Snap apps. So it's just that you got to know what you're installing. So as long as you know in your Software Center what you're installing, and I suppose if we click on any of these, let's have a look at audio and video. Clementine, have a look. That's from the repositories. So that's interesting. I wonder if we do a search on Clementine whether it brings up more than one. Let's try that. So there you go. So if you want the choice, now there you go, that's from the Snap Store, and this one's from the Ubuntu repositories. So if you're just checking out this menu here, more than likely it's just going to be from the Ubuntu repositories. But if you want more than just that choice, then you're going to have to do a search. So you could go through the categories here and have a look at the app you're looking for. And if you find what you're looking for and you want more choices, you could probably go for the search and search for that and see if there's any more options besides the Ubuntu repositories, which could be Snap or Flatpak. So yeah. So I've got an update pending there. So that's how I normally set up my Budgie desktop, and normally it would be, besides the finicky spacering between the icons down the bottom right there, I didn't have any issues with that in 1710, I'm sure, so I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty sure I spaced them out nice and even, but it is a beta, so hopefully that's just a slight hitch in the beta. So so bottom dock, normally I don't have, this one here, task list, normally I don't have that. And the USB, let's go to top dock, or actually bottom dock again. Where's this USB? Drop by, that's the one. So add the applet, it'll end up in the center. They all end up in the center, and we can take that, I think, past the use indicator. So let me put in I'll put in a USB and that should show up and we'll know where it is. There we go, there it is. Oh, we've gone too far, have I? Let's put it there. Let's take that spacer up to there and let's space that out beautifully. So that's 12. So that's beautiful. So that's how I normally have it. And now I've got my, oh, that's now showing up. Okay. Oh, because it restarted before, didn't it? That's probably why. Okay, so one thing I have noticed is that what I've noticed is the OBS is a snap app. So the one thing that I cannot do with this is pin to panel. For some reason, it's not allowing me to pin to panel. So see all these you can pin. If I was to select anything else, say Budgie themes, that's a snap app as well because that's part of the welcome, so that's not pinning to the panel either. So any snap apps, so Budgie desktop settings, that's not a snap, so you can pin to panel. So that's for any snap that doesn't seem to be available. Not a deal breaker, just have to look it up in the menu. OBS, easy done. So yeah, that's just one thing with the snap apps. There's a few snap apps, and the welcome screen is a snap app. So anything within the welcome screen you probably won't be able to pin to the panel either. That's where probably the dock would probably come in handy. The plank, that would probably come in handy for that. And these icon task lists, they show you what's running, what's open at the time. Then you got your Alt tab, software. Yep, that comes in handy. And then you got your drop by there. That's my A data, beautiful. And then that'll also show up here as well. Yep, A data. Okay, nice. I like those couple little apps there. They're very handy. Since setting up the desktop, I've realized that some of these snap apps will not pin to the panel down here. So what I've decided to do is run with Plank, and everything seems to be docking no problem. That's docked and that's docked. So everything I need to do is docked, and if it's just the apps that I'm accessing regularly will be on the Plank, and then I can just, you know, grab the rest from the menu. And whatever I open, for example, Budgie desktop settings, it'll show up here as an icon. So what I've decided to use is the icon task list. And if you close that, then that will go away. So it's only showing what's open, and then we can launch from here. So that's the way I've decided to do it. The other thing is, if we show the, let's say the top dock, we've got the expose windows. Now that's the Alt tab, and you can see the Alt tab there. So if we was to remove that, just to show you, now once you remove that, you'll be using Alt tab is the Budgie Alt tab. That's the standard Budgie one. So, and it doesn't matter where you put, the app, whether it's on the top dock or the bottom panel, it doesn't matter, because it actually runs without an icon panel. So if we choose that and add and click on that, applet runs without a panel icon. So it can be on the bottom, it can be on the top, it doesn't really matter. And then if we run Alt tab again, there you got your nice looking big alt tab, so that's nice there. The other thing I was having problems with is if we have a look at these things down the bottom here. Let me go to my documents and look for Budgie panel setup and open that. Now, what was happening here was I was trying to space out these icons down in the bottom right corner, and I put a little highlight earlier in the video that I'd done that, but when I was removing these spaces I was getting some crashes, and that's why you would have seen when I was running the icon task list earlier, some apps weren't showing up and then they did because the desktop actually restarted. So what the deal is here is, if you have a look at this, the sound and the Bluetooth is the status indicator. So if we look here, there's the status indicator. Those two are grouped, so you cannot change the spacing between those two. So that's where I was sort of getting a bit confused why I couldn't space everything, and then after a little while I realised that you cannot change the spacing with those. So I've sort of worked it out that the spacing is not too bad. I like to have a little bit of space between indicators and so forth, so you can click on them easier. And I also had the notifications icon that kept moving into the corner and moving this budgie control to the left. So I don't know what was going on there. So I removed the notifications icon, because just clicking the budgie control, you can go to notifications from there. So I don't really need that icon on there anyway, because I can access it from there. So that's how I ended up finalizing the Budgie 1804 Beta1 desktop. It is a beta. I am running it on my test laptop, so I may look for something a bit more permanent on this machine until the 1804 is released. So I need something a little bit more stable. So this one's running fine. There's not many, there's just niggly problems with, things like that. But overall, the running of it, I haven't really had many problems, but I just want to try something a bit more stable. So I hope you enjoyed me setting up my Budgie desktop, and thanks for watching.